Here we go again. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris and welcome back to another video. So today I've got my review of Godzilla x Kong, Godzilla times Kong, Godzilla and Kong, whatever the hell you want to call it, The New Empire. It's the latest installment in the MonsterVerse, and before I give you guys my thoughts on this movie, be sure to hit that like button. It helps out more than you know. Subscribe and hit that notification bell to help reach my goal of 150,000 subscribers here on the channel. That would mean quite a bit. And drop your thoughts on this film in the comments down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you mixed bag on it? Let me know down below for sure. But when it comes to the MonsterVerse, I am not a big fan, so I was hoping maybe this movie could win me over, and if I'm being honest, it didn't. I'm just gonna cut right to the chase. I'll start with some of the pros I do have regarding this movie. First and foremost, there are undeniably some action scenes where like, okay, that's pretty badass, you know? Is there any emotional connection here? We'll talk about that later, but just watching these titans clash on screen, there's some level of spectacle to it for sure. And I'll even shout out the score in this film. There were a few moments where I was like, okay, I dig what they're doing here. And I wish I could sit here and continue to rattle off positive takeaways from Godzilla x Kong, but to be honest, just didn't do it for me. I felt like this movie was empty from the start. Emotionally speaking, there was no connection to any of these characters. A lot of them are carried over from Godzilla vs. Kong, the last installment in the series, but I didn't care about him there, so why would I care about him here? I've cared about no human in this entire series pretty much throughout its entire run, and that's a problem here yet again, a glaring issue with the MonsterVerse, and they don't escape that in this latest entry. And it's a bummer too, because this human storyline ends up dominating most of the screen time. Like for the first hour, I'd say 45 minutes, maybe even more, are focused on this human storyline, exploring the hollow world and setting up this plot that's just not very interesting in a film called Godzilla x Kong, and that really took it out of me. I honestly found myself going like this, ready? Ooh. Ooh, I was head bobbing the entire time because I just didn't give a damn. Like, I would be shocked if someone walked out of this movie and was blown away by the human storyline that takes up more than half of the screen time easily. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse talking about that when it comes to this franchise. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room, or the titans in the room, Godzilla and Kong. They're separated for a good chunk of this movie. Like a lot of this movie, Godzilla's doing his own thing, Kong is doing his own thing. I thought the Kong storyline was by far the most interesting, so I guess I can kind of loop in some positives here. And when it comes to Kong, you can sort of feel for him in this storyline as he's witnessing the remainder of his kind being held captive, and that doesn't fly with him. So you can resonate with that storyline. It just doesn't dominate the screen time like it should. Like one of the most memorable fight scenes in the film takes place around the middle of the movie, surrounding the Kong storyline and him actually realizing, oh my gosh, what's going on with my kind? But to be honest, this movie is all over the place. It's jumping from Kong in one location to Godzilla in one location to our human storyline, to our humans going to another location, to Godzilla going to another location. You get what I'm saying? It's so jumpy, and every few minutes a new location would pop up on screen, and it would show us a very obvious location from this place, and then it would be like, insert city here. Like, this is one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. It just got pretty comedic by the end, to me at least. And when it comes to a movie with Godzilla x Kong in the title, you'd think it would be fun, right? That's not the case. It's borderline a snoozer for a good chunk of this film, as I legitimately was dozing off, but a movie with these two titans is supposed to be fun. And it's weighed down by another painfully uninteresting main human storyline. And sure, it has a handful of cool fight scenes, but they're sparse throughout the film. It's not like you're getting a big fight every 10 minutes. There's a few that stand out, but other than that, I don't think this movie's worth sitting through just to get to witness a few cool standout moments, because it's not really structured well. It's filled with bland visuals, in my opinion. I was not at all blown away. It was pretty on par with the other films, and Kong Skull Island's really the only one that has stood out visually to me. And so I was like, okay, this is like every other big budget blockbuster film visually speaking. It's not doing anything to push the boundary for a Godzilla film. I went into this movie expecting yet another meh human storyline, so I'm not surprised by that, but I am pretty stunned by the lack of Godzilla in this movie. It's kind of like Godzilla was just in the filmmaker's back pocket until the final act, where they could pull him out and be like, hey guys, look, Godzilla, here you go, this is what you asked for. Because for the first 2/3 of this movie, the man is sidelined. It's more so Kong's movie, and whenever the focus was solely on him, I was on board with it. There were portions of this movie where there was no dialogue, where we followed Kong, and the story was still able to progress because we saw the portrayal of emotion on their faces, and it wasn't necessary to have human characters. I've always been a proponent of not even having humans in these films, and just having it be about Godzilla or Kong. No need for even dialogue. But then I go and watch something like Godzilla -1 and I'm like, damn, maybe we do need human characters, and you actually just write them well and give them a backstory that makes you want to root for them and really feel the stakes and the terror they're experiencing when they come face to face with Godzilla, who is towering over them and destroying their city and potentially killing loved ones around them. Godzilla -1 puts us in the shoes of those characters. Then you watch a movie from the MonsterVerse and it's just like, wow, this is so underwhelming. And I don't want to just sit here and compare the two. That's not the purpose of this review. I'm just saying, when you watch a Godzilla film like that and you give a damn about those characters, legitimately holding your breath in the third act of the movie in fear for the characters' lives, then you go and watch something like this and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to sleep for 10 minutes, tell me when the humans are off screen. That's a big damn problem. And it would be okay if Godzilla x Kong had the most badass fight scenes and actually compelled me with the story with the two titans, but because that was pretty forgettable as well, it's inexcusable for me to have to sit through this movie and be like, the first 45 minutes focus on another BS human storyline that I don't care about, but I think it's worth it to watch this Godzilla fight. That's not even the case here, in my opinion. Now, I'm sure diehard kaiju fans and Godzilla fans are gonna eat this movie up, just like they have with all the other MonsterVerse movies. I myself have never been one of those, so I'm not gonna shy away from the fact that I think this movie genuinely feels empty for the majority of its runtime. The more I sit here and talk this out, the more fired up I'm getting, because this movie's gonna rack it up at the box office, and it's literally mind-numbingly stupid. I'm not saying this needs to be some cinematic achievement. I just wanted to have fun, and I didn't even find that with this movie, because I was so turned away by the snooze fest that was the main human storyline, and frankly the bare bones plot they gave us with Godzilla. Kong was carrying this movie on his back. Anything else pretty uninteresting, nothing we haven't seen before in a MonsterVerse movie, and Godzilla x Kong really just solidified that this MonsterVerse franchise is not my thing. Every single movie feels like an attempt to just rack it up at the box office, and I get it, Hollywood's a business, but there's no heart in this movie. There's no emotional connection to any characters in this movie, and it feels empty emotionally, but also the plot is paper thin. It's upsetting because I want to go into a big spectacle movie like this and be like, oh, this is awesome. And oftentimes, I'll be able to say with a movie, hey, I can just have fun with it. I can acknowledge these flaws, but have fun with it. And when I say that, usually I have issues with the story or plot, but the characters are the best part, and I can say, you know what? I am on board with the characters. I'm having fun. Can't say that here. There's really no saving grace. Yeah, you're gonna see Godzilla and Kong fight alongside each other in this movie, and if that's all you want, go for it. But I just sat there and felt nothing when it happened, because it all just felt shoehorned in to try and make this product to sell tickets, and I was just not having it. The MonsterVerse is not for me. That's no surprise. If it is your jam, you will probably get a kick out of this movie. It's not my thing though. This movie didn't win me over, and I would love to come out and say, oh, I had so much fun. That's not the case here. This movie is not fun. This movie will put you to sleep if you make it through the first hour. Congratulations. I honestly think it is a damn disappointment, and I'm good off the MonsterVerse. I don't know how many more of these movies they're gonna try and make. I'm sure if this one's profitable, they'll do another, but there's not much of a story to tell here. If they make another one, they should almost just not even have human characters, or, crazy concept here, make us care about them. And then, maybe, just maybe, you can have a great film. But what do you guys think of this movie? Let me know in the comments down below, and be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to help reach my goal of 150,000 subscribers here on the channel. It would mean a lot. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.